Hey, this is John with the Autistic Pro. On this channel, we're dedicated to telling real-life stories of autism in the workplace to help spread awareness and to promote a culture of neurodiversity and inclusion. And so if you're new to this channel, make sure that you hit the subscribe button and sign up for notifications so you don't miss out on any great stories. So this week, we're going to be talking about freelance work, and specifically 3 struggles that I've had as a freelancer and the solutions I've found to getting around these struggles. So this is a really important topic for people with autism because they tend to suffer from higher unemployment rates. And so as a result, we're a lot of times more dependent on short-term gigs, on side hustles, on contract work, that sort of thing, just to make ends meet. And so without any further ado, let's get right into it. So struggle number 1. And that's just finding clients in the first place. This is really tough for any freelancer, especially when they're first starting out and haven't made a lot of connections. But it's especially tough when you have autism because generally you have social deficits and maybe have trouble with communication with other people, and that's essential for finding clients. I tried a few different things with this when I was first getting started. Some of them worked, some of them didn't work. So the ones that really didn't work very well for me for one, was just trying to launch ads. Because as someone who's already got a limited budget, if you have to spend money, that cuts into the money that you're making. So, I did find some clients through search ads and through social media ads, but, I didn't make as much money as a result because I had to spend money to make that money. And then thing number 2, I tried doing some spec work. So that would be where, I do some work up front with the hopes of landing more work later or landing payment later. So for me, that would be doing things like going on sites like 99 Designs, where someone puts out a creative brief, a whole bunch of designers submit designs, the client chooses one of those designs, and that's the only person that gets paid. So you potentially end up doing a lot of work for nothing. Definitely not a thing that I recommend. What did work for me is trying to find clients through freelance specific sites. So for instance, Upwork is one where I put up my qualifications on a profile. I could search through jobs that had been posted, and so I was able to make some contacts through Upwork, and I know that it's got a robust ecosystem there, and there's a couple other advantages that we'll get into later. And then of course being able to just network through social media, especially things like LinkedIn. That's a great one for making professional connections, especially now it's really growing. And then of course things like Facebook and even Instagram. I've managed to get some clients or some offers through Instagram. And another option is just reaching out to temp agencies. So if you make a connection with a recruiter in a temp agency, sometimes they can find you little jobs here and there that can kind of tide you over. Freelance struggle number 2, and that's just being naive. As someone with autism, one of the things I struggle with is just being able to read people, and especially to be able to tell if they're trustworthy or not trustworthy. By nature, I just want to assume that everybody has my best interests at heart, and I guess I tend to be a little bit gullible. So, this is something I know about myself, and there have been times where I've been put in danger even, or taken for a ride because of this trait. And especially one time when I was first getting started with freelance work, I really learned this lesson the hard way. I had a client, my first big client, had a ton of work to do with logos and packaging and lots of different design things that he needed done. Had a great rate negotiated with him. All the work was going, really well. We were talking over the phone as needed, doing a lot of stuff back and forth over email. I thought it was going great until the time came for him to pay me for the work that I have done. And, all of a sudden he disappears. There's no way to get in contact with him. The phone numbers I had were disconnected. The emails I had were just not answered. Even the physical address, turned out to be a bogus address. Unfortunately, that's something I had to learn the hard way. But, you can avoid the situation with a few things. So one is to start off with a very solid contract. So I'm going to link in the description to some sample templates that you can use to kind of give you a starting place for a solid contract. But basically you want to agree on things like when and how much you're going to get paid, what the scope of the work is going to be, the timelines, and then make some concessions for, if they need extra stuff done, how much that's going to cost. Your contract really needs to think through all of these situations. And usually, depending on the work that you're doing, you can find, kind of a baseline thing and then tweak it as needed for specific clients' needs. And then part of that contract, you probably want to, especially if it's a big job, you want to collect some of that money up front as kind of an earnest payment. That way they have some skin in the game and you are not left totally out in the cold if the client, skips town or whatever, like with me. So that's one thing you can do. And then also another way around this is to use an intermediary. So again, things like Upwork, they can do the payment collection for you, so you don't have to worry about it. I've also used temp agencies in the past to find short-term contracts, and so they find the work for me. They handle all the payment, and I just have to worry about delivering a great product on time. So that's also another option for finding clients as well. So freelance struggle number 3, and that's just estimating the time something will take. When you are doing freelance work, you want to be able to give customers an estimate, and that depends on, your ability to kind of plan out how much time something will take. And for someone with autism, this is kind of difficult because we struggle with executive functions. So executive functions are those processes in your brain that let you plan out and execute a task. So for me, this manifests itself in these periods of super hyper focus and then these opposite periods of crashing. So when I'm in a hyper focus state, I'll get so wrapped up in the details of something that, one, I don't want anyone bothering me. I can't switch between what I'm doing and a regular conversation. And two, I'll even just get so wrapped up that I forget to eat. I'll forget what time it is and end up staying late or doing, extra work on it that may just kind of interest me. So, that's not good when you're trying to predict how long something is going to take. But then it's even worse because you have the opposite end when you crash, and at that point, your body just can't take anymore. My mind is just unable to work through things, and things I normally do with ease are just arduous. And I may be able to get something out, but it's going to take so much effort of will to do that it takes extra time. And so trying to figure out how long something is going to take, is difficult because I don't know when I'm going to be in that hyper-focus state or that crash state. And, it makes it difficult to plan, like I said. So there have been some things that I've been able to do to kind of soften that a little bit. So one thing that I've been able to do is just to change my rate structure. So, it used to be that I would charge an hourly rate for the work I did. Now I've switched to more of a task-based, project-based kind of model. So, you want a new website built with X number of pages. Well, this is what it's going to cost to do that project, no matter how long I take to do it. So that way I don't have to do so much work kind of tracking all of these hours. I can just worry about getting the work done. And the way I come up with these a lot of times is kind of thinking about my hourly rate and then try to make at least a rough prediction of how long it's going to take, but um, building in uh, building in some cushion as well. And so I'll multiply that out, and then I'll take the associated costs, that come with it. Like if it's a website, you have to have hosting, you have to have domains. So I'll add that in as well and put it together as one price. And then, extra pages would be like just kind of a bump up, an extra cost that could be added on later. And so the good thing about this is I don't have to worry so much about accounting for time, because I'm going to get paid the same whether or not I get this done in 6 hours or I get it done in 5 days or whatever. Hopefully not that big of a disparity, but that's what's worked for me. And it's better than having clients get upset because you're charging them more than you initially thought you needed. And yes, that has happened to me. Unfortunately, it was not a good experience, especially for someone who already has trouble with communication. So anyways, if you've had, things that you've struggled with when trying to do freelance work or side hustles, let me know in the comments, and make sure that you like this video and share it with people that you think might be able to get some use out of it, whether they're neurotypical or neurodiverse. So until next time, I'll talk to you later. Thanks. Bye.